Chosen ones, listen closely. Right now, somewhere in this world, someone is thinking about you with an intensity that borders on obsession. Their mind keeps circling back to your face, your voice, the way you made them feel things they swore they'd never feel again. They're telling their friends about you, they're scrolling through old photos, they're lying awake at night wondering why they let you slip away. This isn't coincidence, this isn't imagination. This is the raw power of your energy, doing what it was always designed to do, awaken people from their spiritual slumber, whether they're ready or not. And here's what nobody told you, the very thing that makes you irresistible to others has also become your greatest burden. People don't just admire you, they become addicted to your frequency. They orbit your life even after you've moved on. And right now there's someone specific who can't shake the feeling that they made the biggest mistake of their life when they walked away from you. Let me show you why your energy has people talking behind your back about how they've never met anyone like you. Your journey didn't start with you understanding this power. Most of you moved through life completely unaware of the effect you had on people. You thought you were just being friendly when you smiled at that coworker. You thought you were just being helpful when you listened to that friend's problems. You thought you were just being yourself when you showed up to that gathering. But what you didn't see was happening in the spiritual realm. Every person who crossed your path experienced something they couldn't name, a shift, an opening, a sudden awareness that maybe there's more to life than what they've been settling for. You walk into a room and the frequency changes. Not because you're trying, not because you're performing, but because your soul carries a signature that most people only encounter once in a lifetime. This is why you've had so many strange experiences with attraction. Friends who suddenly couldn't maintain boundaries, colleagues who made things awkward at work, strangers who stared too long, people who accused you of leading them on when all you did was exist in their presence. You started to think maybe something was wrong with you, maybe you were sending signals you didn't mean to send. Maybe you needed to dress differently, talk less, smile less, be less, so you dimmed your light. You learned to make yourself smaller in spaces where your energy made others uncomfortable. You developed strategies to blend in because standing out meant dealing with complications you never asked for. But here's what really happened. The divine placed a spiritual seal on you before you even arrived on this planet. It's an energetic signature that serves multiple purposes. First, it protects you from connections that would derail your mission. Second, it attracts specific souls who need what you carry. Third, it triggers awakening in people who are ready to evolve. And fourth, it exposes the true nature of those who approach you with hidden agendas. This seal works like a spiritual metal detector. When someone with pure intentions gets close to you, things flow naturally. But when someone with control issues, unhealed trauma or selfish motives tries to get close, they start acting strange. They become jealous. They try to dim your light. They spread rumors. They ghost you suddenly. They come back months later with apologies they can't fully explain. There's more to this protection than you realize. You've actually had people get spiritually attacked for getting too close to you. Their friends turn on them, their family members suddenly have problems with you, opportunities fall through, health issues pop up, relationships around them start crumbling. This isn't coincidence. When someone tries to connect with you who isn't aligned with your highest path, the universe intervenes, not to punish them, but to redirect both of you toward your true assignments. You've witnessed this firsthand. That person who was obsessed with you suddenly went cold, and you couldn't understand why. That situation that seemed promising fell apart overnight for no logical reason. That connection that felt like destiny got blocked by obstacle after obstacle. Your spiritual team doesn't play games when it comes to protecting your energy and your mission. They'll remove people from your path even when your human heart wants them to stay. Right now there's someone from your past who's finally understanding what they felt when they were around you. This person tried to convince themselves it wasn't real. They told their friends you weren't that special. They dated other people trying to recreate what you made them feel. They threw themselves into work, into distractions, into anything that would help them forget. But your energy doesn't work that way. Once you've opened someone's heart frequency, it stays open. Once you've shown someone what real connection feels like, everything else tastes like cardboard. This person is having conversations about you right now. They're saying things they never said when you were accessible. How your intelligence intimidated them, how your options made them feel insecure, how your independence threatened their need for control, how your energy brought up every wound they'd been avoiding for years. They're admitting now that they ran because they felt out of control around you. Love scared them more than loneliness. Vulnerability felt more dangerous than playing it safe, so they chose the path of least resistance. They chose people they could predict. They chose situations where they felt powerful instead of partnerships where they'd have to grow. And now they're watching you move forward while they're stuck in the same patterns, wondering why nothing feels right anymore. Let's talk about what makes your energy so magnetic. It's not just physical attraction, though your presence definitely turns heads. It's something deeper. When you speak, you don't engage in surface-level small talk. You go straight to people's souls. You ask questions that make them think. You share perspectives that shift their worldview. You create space where people feel safe enough to reveal parts of themselves they usually hide. This is a gift, but it's also why people misinterpret your intentions. In a world where most interactions are transactional, your genuine interest feels like romantic pursuit. In spaces where people guard their hearts, your openness feels like availability. In environments where everyone's wearing masks, your authenticity gets mistaken for weakness they can exploit. You've had people fall for you who claimed they never fall for anyone. The ice kings and ice queens, the emotionally unavailable ones, the players and heartbreakers. Something about your frequency melts their defenses. Suddenly they're feeling things they thought they'd locked away forever. They're having thoughts about commitment. They're picturing futures they swore they didn't want. And this terrifies them, because if you can make them feel this much without even trying, what happens if they actually let you in? What happens if they give you the power to hurt them the way they've hurt others? So they run. They sabotage, they create drama, they pick fights over nothing, they disappear without explanation, anything to regain the sense of control your presence stripped away. Here's something else you need to know about these ice kings and ice queens. They fantasize about having a family with you, building a life with you, growing old with you. These are people who told everyone they'd never settle down, who swore marriage wasn't for them, who claimed they were too independent for that domestic life. But when they met you, suddenly they could see it all. White picket fence, Sunday mornings, inside jokes, shared dreams, the whole thing. And that vision scared them more than anything, because it meant they'd have to give up the version of themselves they'd been performing for years. It meant vulnerability. It meant risk. It meant potentially losing the most important person they'd ever met. So instead of stepping into that fear, they chose someone else, someone safer, someone they didn't take as seriously, someone who wouldn't require them to evolve. And now they're in situations that look good on paper, but feel empty in their soul, wondering why they can't stop thinking about the one who got away. If this message hits your spirit, hype this video so more chosen ones like you can find it. Here's where it gets even more complex. The spiritual realm assigned you a specific mission on this planet. You're not here just to find love and live happily ever after. You're here to shift consciousness, to break generational curses, to model what healed love looks like, to plant seeds in people's hearts that might not bloom until years after you've moved on. This means not everyone who falls for you is meant to stay in your life. Some people are temporary assignments. They needed to experience your energy to catalyze changes they couldn't make on their own. You showed them what real connection feels like, which means they can no longer settle for toxic patterns. You demonstrated what healthy communication looks like, which means they now recognize manipulation when they see it. You embodied confidence without arrogance, which challenged their beliefs about what power actually means. But this comes at a cost to you. Every person you've awakened has taken a piece of your energy with them. Every connection that ended abruptly left you questioning your worth. Every time someone ran scared, you wondered what you did wrong. The answer is nothing. You did nothing wrong except be exactly who you were designed to be. And the people who couldn't handle that, they're out there right now realizing what they lost. They're watching you thrive on social media. They're hearing through mutual friends that you're doing better than ever. They're seeing you post about new adventures, new growth, new levels, and it's triggering something deep inside them: regret, longing, recognition that they fumbled the most real thing they ever had because they weren't ready for real. Someone specific is coming through strongly right now. This person surrounded themselves with toxicity and didn't want you to see that side of their life. They had friends who were jealous of you, family members who didn't approve, ex-lovers who poisoned their mind, childhood wounds that got triggered every time you showed them healthy love. They made a choice to protect their dysfunction instead of choosing growth with you, and they told themselves it was the right decision. They convinced themselves you wouldn't understand. They rationalized that you were better off without them. They even talked badly about you to others, trying to make themselves feel better about walking away. But energy doesn't lie. Time reveals truth. And now they're sitting with the consequences of letting fear drive their choices. They're Googling things like, "Why can't I stop thinking about someone?" or "How to know if you lost your soulmate." They're talking to anyone who will listen about how they messed up. They're replaying every conversation you had, looking for clues about whether you'd ever give them another chance. They're noticing that you've moved on or are moving on, and it's creating a desperation in them they can't control. They see how many people are interested in you. They remember how many options you had, even when you were loyal to them. They're realizing that someone who was faithful when they had every reason not to be is the rarest find in a world full of people who cheat with half the options. But here's what you need to understand. This person's return, if it happens, isn't really about you. It's about their own spiritual journey. They were meant to lose you to learn lessons their soul required. Maybe they needed to learn that control isn't love. Maybe they needed to discover that running from vulnerability only leads to emptiness. Maybe they needed to hit rock bottom to finally address wounds they've been carrying since childhood. Your role in their life was never to save them. It was to be a mirror that showed them what they were capable of if they did the work to heal. Whether they do that work or not is their choice. Whether you let them back in is yours. Let me tell you something powerful about your path right now. You're entering a season where your energy is shifting into a frequency of abundance. The people who dimmed you are falling away. The situations that drained you are dissolving. The patterns that kept you small are breaking. You're starting to see clearly that being alone is better than being with someone who makes you feel lonely. You're recognizing that all those rejections were actually redirections. You're understanding that the relationships that ended weren't failures but completions of spiritual contracts. And as you step into this new awareness, your magnetism is intensifying. You're not chasing anyone anymore. You're not proving your worth. You're not explaining yourself to people who are determined to misunderstand you. You're simply existing in your power, and that's making you irresistible to those who are finally ready for something real. Confidential new love is coming for many of you, not the kind that needs you to shrink, not the kind that runs when things get deep, not the kind that mistakes your kindness for weakness or your loyalty for desperation. Real love, the kind that matches your energy instead of draining it, the kind that celebrates your wins instead of competing with them, the kind that protects your peace instead of disturbing it, the kind that sees your gifts and says thank you for sharing them with me instead of trying to control how you use them. This love has been in preparation while you've been going through your refinement process, while you were learning to stop accepting crumbs, while you were developing boundaries, while you were discovering that being selective isn't being difficult, it's being discerning. The people talking about you right now aren't just the ones from your past. There are individuals in your present who are silently crushing on you. That person at work who finds excuses to walk past your desk. That friend of a friend who always seems to show up when you're around. That person in your regular coffee shop who memorized your order. You don't notice because you're not looking for attention. You're focused on your purpose. You're building your life. You're healing from what tried to break you. But trust me, you have admirers who are just waiting for the right moment, the right sign, the right opening to let you know how they feel. Some of them think you're out of their league. Some of them are intimidated by how well you have it together. Some of them are dealing with their own situations that need to be resolved first, and this is where your spiritual protection becomes really important. Not everyone who's attracted to you has good intentions. Some people want your energy for what it can do for them. They see how you light up rooms and want that shine transferred to their life. They notice how people respect you and want that respect by association. They recognize your gifts and want access to what you can provide. These are the ones who love bomb you in the beginning, who mirror everything you say, who seem too good to be true because they are. Your spiritual team works overtime protecting you from these connections. This is why people ghost you suddenly, why situations fall apart for no logical reason. Why you get strong gut feelings to stay away from certain people. It's not your paranoia, it's your divine guidance system keeping you safe from energy vampires disguised as romantic interests. You've had situations where you felt like you put a spell on people, where someone became obsessed in an unhealthy way, where boundaries didn't matter to them because they convinced themselves you belonged together. This happened because your energy activated something in them they couldn't handle. Your light exposed their darkness, and instead of doing the work to heal, they became fixated on possessing what they thought would fix them. You are not responsible for other people's obsessions. You are not responsible for setting yourself on fire to keep others warm. You are not responsible for staying accessible to people who refuse to respect your boundaries. Part of your journey is learning that your kindness is not consent, your politeness is not an invitation, your existence is not an apology. Many of you have developed strategies to avoid unwanted attention. You dress down in certain settings, you avoid eye contact, you keep conversations surface level, you mention fake partners, you create elaborate excuses to decline invitations. You've become experts at deflection because direct rejection has blown up in your face too many times. You've had people turn your whole friend group against you because you didn't return their feelings. You've had co-worker make your job hell because you maintained professional boundaries. You've had friends disappear because they couldn't handle being in the friend zone. This taught you that your attractiveness can be a liability in spaces that aren't ready for your energy. Some of you have even experienced the darker side of this magnetic pull. Stalkers who wouldn't take no for answer, people who showed up at your home uninvited, individuals who created fake accounts to watch your every move online, messages that crossed from persistent to threatening. Situations where you felt unsafe because someone's obsession spiraled beyond healthy attraction into something dangerous. This is the shadow side of carrying the energy you carry. Not everyone who's drawn to you has the emotional stability to handle what they feel. Some people's attraction turns toxic because they lack the spiritual foundation to process intense emotions in healthy ways. You've learned to trust your gut when someone's interest feels off. You've developed radar for red flags that others might miss. You've built protection mechanisms that keep you safe even when it means seeming cold or distant to people who don't understand what you've survived. But the universe is asking you to stop hiding now. Your light was never meant to be dimmed for other people's comfort. Your energy was never meant to be suppressed so insecure people could feel better about themselves. Your beauty, your intelligence, your gifts, your presence, these aren't things to apologize for. They're weapons in your spiritual arsenal, and you're being called to use them unapologetically. This doesn't mean being reckless or naive. It means standing in your power, even when it makes others uncomfortable. It means showing up as your full self, even when you know it might intimidate people. It means trusting that those who are meant for you will rise to meet your energy instead of asking you to lower yours. There's someone watching your social media right now who never comments, never likes, but checks your page regularly. They see you traveling, they see you glowing, they see you thriving, and every post is a reminder of what they lost. They want to reach out but don't know what to say. How do you apologize for running from the best thing that ever happened to you? How do you explain that you weren't ready when you should have been? How do you ask for a second chance when you blew the first one so spectacularly? So they stay silent, hoping somehow you'll feel their energy and reach out first. But you're not doing that anymore. You're not carrying relationships on your back. You're not doing all the emotional labor while others coast. You learned that lesson the hard way. Some of you are wondering if you'll ever find love that doesn't come with drama. The answer is yes, but it requires you to break some patterns first. You have to stop romanticizing potential. You have to stop making excuses for people who show you through their actions they aren't ready. You have to stop accepting inconsistency because you're afraid of being alone. You have to stop believing that if you just love someone hard enough, they'll change. People change when they want to change, not when you want them to. Your love is powerful, but it's not a rehabilitation center for broken people who refuse to do their own healing work. You can inspire transformation, but you cannot force it. Now let me put you onto something real. Destiny Engine. I built this because I was done watching chosen ones get dragged through betrayal, isolation and attacks while their enemies strutted around unchecked. I want to help you accelerate the speed of your divine justice and step fully into your purpose. And the beauty of it, you don't even have to lift a finger. Destiny Engine takes their downfall and flips it into your rise. This isn't another meditation app. It's declassified consciousness technology, the same mind programming tools your enemies once used to install fear, competition and scarcity, re-engineered to restore your sovereignty and align you with the cooperative, upgraded operating framework. It generates personalized sequences mapped to your divine purpose. The hardest thing you'll do is put on headphones, press play, and watch your enemies keep digging their own grave. The collective upgrade is underway. Start your Destiny Engine for $1 today and turn everything they did to break you into fuel for your rise. Link in the description. The person from your past who keeps coming through in this message needs you to know something. They finally understand what they felt around you wasn't manipulation or magic tricks. It was real love activating in their heart for possibly the first time in their life. They've spent time with others, trying to recreate what you gave them effortlessly, and nothing comes close. They've achieved some of the goals they said they needed to accomplish before they could be with anyone, and the success feels empty without you. They've worked on some of their issues, and now see clearly how their fear and insecurity sabotage something beautiful. They're trying to become worthy of a second chance. But here's the thing, they might have already lost their window. Divine timing is real, and sometimes people come back into your life when you've already moved on. Sometimes they return with apologies and changed behavior, but you're no longer interested in what they're offering. Sometimes they show up ready to give you everything you asked for, but you've evolved past wanting it from them. This is part of their lesson, not your responsibility. You don't owe anyone access to you just because they finally got their act together. You don't owe anyone another chance just because they're sorry. You get to choose who gets your energy, your time, your love, and that choice should be based on what serves your highest good, not on guilt or nostalgia. For those of you who are single, I want you to really hear this, for you always have options, even when you don't see them, even when you feel invisible, even when you think nobody's interested. You have people in your orbit right now who would love to take you out, who find you fascinating, who think about you more than you realize. But you're so focused on your purpose, your healing, your growth, that you're not even paying attention. And that's actually a good thing, because when you're not desperate for attention, you attract better quality connections. When you're whole on your own, you don't settle for people who only offer half of what you need. When you're genuinely happy single, you become a magnet for people who want to add to your joy, not become your source of it. The universe has been preparing someone specifically for you while you've been going through your process. This person has been working on themselves. learning from their own failed relationships, breaking their own toxic patterns, developing the emotional intelligence to handle your depth, building the confidence to not feel threatened by your light, cultivating the spiritual foundation to protect what you build together. This person won't be perfect, but they'll be committed to growth. They won't always get it right, but they'll communicate when they mess up. They won't run when things get hard, because they'll understand that challenges are opportunities to deepen connection, not reasons to bail. When this person appears, you'll recognize them by how safe you feel. Not bored safe, not settling safe, but genuinely peaceful, like you can finally exhale, like you don't have to perform or prove anything, like you're exactly enough as you are. They'll see your wounds and won't use them against you. They'll recognize your gifts and won't feel intimidated by them. They'll witness your growth and celebrate instead of sabotage. They'll understand that choosing you means choosing to evolve, and they'll be excited about that journey instead of terrified of it. This is what you've been waiting for. Not someone who completes you, but someone who complements you. Not someone who needs you, but someone who chooses you daily. Until that person shows up, your job is to keep becoming the most authentic version of yourself. Keep shining your light, even when people try to dim it. Keep speaking your truth, even when it makes others uncomfortable. Keep setting boundaries, even when people call you difficult. Keep honoring your standards, even when people say you're too picky. Keep trusting your intuition, even when others question your judgment. Keep believing in love, even after heartbreak tried to close your heart. You're not too much. You're not asking for too much. You're not expecting too much. You're simply refusing to accept less than what you know you deserve. People are going to keep talking about you. Let them. People are going to keep crushing on you. Let them. People are going to keep missing you after they leave. Let them. None of that is your concern anymore. Your concern is staying aligned with your purpose. Your concern is protecting your peace. Your concern is honoring the divine assignment you came here to complete. Everything else is background noise. Everyone who's supposed to be in your life will find their way there. Everyone who left wasn't strong enough to handle the journey. Everyone who stays will prove they have what it takes through their actions, not their words. The conversations happening about you right now in coffee shops, in therapy sessions, in late-night phone calls between friends, they're all confirming what you already know deep down. You're unforgettable. Your energy leaves marks on people's souls. Your presence changes the trajectory of people's lives, not because you're trying to, but because that's what chosen ones do. You exist at a frequency that most people only dream about reaching. You operate from a consciousness that most people spend lifetimes developing. You carry a light that most people need multiple incarnations to ignite. This is your power. This is your gift. This is your blessing and your burden. Someone out there is realizing right now that you were the one who got away. Someone is having conversations about how they messed up the best thing that ever happened to them. Someone is asking friends if they think you'd ever give them another chance. Someone is looking at your pictures and missing what they lost. Someone is finally understanding that what they felt around you wasn't fear, it was love, and they weren't mature enough to recognize the difference. Someone is praying for a miracle that would bring you back into their life. Someone is manifesting and visualizing and doing everything they can to energetically call you back, but you're not going back. You're not the same person you were when they left. You've upgraded, you've evolved, you've leveled up. And the version of you that exists now requires more than they were offering then. This is your season of recognition, recognition of your worth, recognition of your power, recognition of your beauty, recognition of your gifts, recognition that you're not difficult, you're discerning, recognition that you're not too much, they're just not enough. Recognition that your standards aren't unrealistic, they're necessary. Recognition that your boundaries aren't walls, they're filters. Recognition that your selectivity isn't fear, it's wisdom. You spent too many years questioning yourself, too many nights wondering what was wrong with you, too many relationships where you dimmed yourself trying to make insecure people comfortable. Those days are over. Walk forward, knowing that your energy is addictive to those who are ready for real. Know that you have people out there who would treat you like the treasure you are. Know that the right person will show up when you're fully aligned with yourself. Know that all those false starts were preparing you for something that will last. Know that your prayers are being answered in ways you haven't even imagined yet. Know that the universe is protecting you from everyone who isn't for you. Know that divine timing is always working in your favor, even when it doesn't feel like it. Know that you're exactly where you're supposed to be on your journey. The person who wants you bad right now might get you if they do the work. Or they might watch from a distance as someone else steps up and gives you what they couldn't. Either way, your life moves forward. Either way, your blessings keep coming. Either way, your light keeps shining. Either way, your purpose keeps unfolding. You're no longer waiting for anyone to choose you because you already chose yourself, and that decision changed everything. That decision aligned you with your highest timeline. That decision opened doors that staying small never could. That decision activated blessings that playing safe never would. So yes, you have people talking about how in love with you they are. Yes, your energy is addictive. Yes, someone wants you bad right now. But the real question isn't whether they want you. The real question is whether they're ready to do what it takes to have you. The real question is whether they can match your energy, or if they'll ask you to lower yours. The real question is whether they see you as a prize to win, or a person to partner with. The real question is whether they're committed to growth, or just looking for someone to make them feel good. And you, chosen one, you already know how to tell the difference. You've been trained by heartbreak. You've been refined by rejection. You've been strengthened by people who walked away. You're not the same person who used to accept bare minimum. You're operating from a place of fullness now, and that changes everything. This is your time, your season, your moment. Everything you've been through was preparation for what's coming next. Every person who hurt you taught you what you won't tolerate. Every situation that fell apart made room for something better. Every time you chose yourself over settling, you upgraded your reality. The conversations people are having about you behind your back will soon become opportunities you receive face to face. The energy you've been putting into healing is about to manifest as blessings you can touch. The work you've been doing in private is about to produce results in public. Stay focused, stay aligned, stay true to who you are, and watch how the universe moves heaven and earth to bring you exactly what you've been asking for. You're not hoping anymore. You're not wishing anymore. You're not begging anymore. You're standing in your power, knowing that what's meant for you will find you, and when it does, it'll be so obviously right that you'll understand why nothing else worked out.